Thank you, Jimmy, for joining us today on Let's Talk Business series by RealtyNXT.
It's a pleasure to be here and looking forward.
So to begin with, I'm sure our viewers are also curious to know. I want to understand, how did the Parsi heritage influence your approach towards design and entrepreneurship?
So to begin with, I'm not a qualified designer. I'm not a qualified architect. I've never gone through formal education in design ever. It all started with a backdoor entry. I started importing furniture from Italy. Went into contracting. Contracting led me to furniture. And I said I must import. Those days there was nobody importing. So I was the first importer and representative of 27 Italian brands. That led me to understanding design at a global level, which I had no exposure to. Fashion, design, both of the things. It further developed my skill set to start giving a solution those days that was not present in India, which was turnkey office interiors. I wanted to focus and specialize in just office environments. We started doing that, and I came across a temple in Dadar, which is our Agyari. It had to be repaired. I just started doing well in life. So the first thing, naturally, you want to give back to your community, your society. That's my nature, and it continues even today. I went to the trustees and I said, can I take up the restoration of this temple? I did the restoration. This was, I think, way back in 2001 to around there. And to my utter surprise, I was the first non-qualified architect after I finished with this building to get an Urban Heritage Award, which was sponsored by HDFC Bank as the Urban Heritage Architects Award. And I was the only non-qualified architect to get an Urban Heritage Restoration Award because I didn't realize what I was doing. But in sense to preserve my heritage, I didn't repair, I actually restored it. That got me to understand Zoroastrian architecture and start to work with the priests of the community and stuff like that. That was my first turning point. Later in life, I designed Siddhivinayak Ji's mandir and I restored the mandir. I did the Shushobhikaran there. So for me, the idea to narrate any kind of a story via the medium of art and architecture, interiors, any materials, that's my specialty.
And that's quite interesting because, as you also said, you're a self-taught designer, right? And I'm sure during those times, that time you must have faced challenges to establish a credibility, right? So how did you overcome those? And what kind of challenges did you face?
Lots of challenges. You know, when you come from a very humble middle-class family background and not having the requisite qualifications, suddenly you arrive on the scene someday. So I still remember my first large furniture supply project was ILFS building. And somebody mentioned over there to me on my face that, you know, these youngsters, they want to become millionaires overnight. And I was like, dude, I'm not one of them. And that was a big job for me those days. 600 workstations to be supplied. That was really, really large. What you do is you let your work speak. Those days I was too naive and things would impact me. And if I'm going to an office to pitch, I'm at Star TV and I'm pitching for their office and there are 5 architects in a queue and everybody's come with a presentation. You feel very intimidated those days, right? Because you're not proved it as yet to the world. Later on in life, it just makes you work more harder and stronger. And your ideation, your concepts, because they're not doctored through a certain way of thinking, you always think out of the box. That becomes your specialization. And that happened with me as a designer. I have never designed anything standard. I always designed something out of the box. And when you do good work, work gets appreciated. There was a time, it was a joke. No matter which television channel in India you put the remote on, it was designed by me. 99% of channels, no matter which studio, which channel, was designed by us. We did 99% of television that was going on that time. Offices, studios. Then came radio. We again did the same in radio. We specialized there. Then we specialized in finance companies. And you kind of do more of something, you get good at doing it. That's what happens in design. And you don't allow your ego to go through. You are like yesterday's newspaper. I keep telling myself even today that whatever two bits we've done in life, we are still yesterday's newspaper. What am I doing for tomorrow? What am I doing for day after tomorrow? How many more years do I have remaining? How much more can I deliver? So for me, it's all about disrupting anything I touch. And when people get that value, they appreciate it. We began our journey as a designer, but during the process, we designed about 250 corporate headquarters across the largest of corporate houses. I had this flair for branding. I had this flair for marketing. I had this flair for HR. So I would invariably end up becoming a de facto non-official consultant to the management for acquisitions, mergers, brand discussion, internal branding in the organization, external visual appeal of the brand. So I came in as a designer, and then it was funny where we would even specialize in HR, where the management would be sitting and discussing that we've got 7 layers and we need to give this and that. And I would say, look, so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so is doing this. We flattened the structures. We've got only 3 layers now. We started becoming HR consultants in terms of physical space.
Okay.
Right. So it was very interesting. And you get good at doing, like I said earlier, you get good at doing what you do. So overall, when you provide a solution to a corporate entity, you really come with a huge amount of bandwidth. And people appreciate it. Corporates appreciate it. We designed the Bajaj Auto headquarters. We designed for Vijay Mallya, the UB headquarters in Bangalore. We designed 250 corporate headquarters. And when these companies would acquire something, so Mallya started Kingfisher, I designed everything for Kingfisher. And the trust factor of you being a disruptor becomes so high. He had his yacht, which had a legacy to it. It was Elizabeth Taylor's yacht that was gifted to her by Richard Burton.
Yeah.
And that was acquired by Mallya those days. He asked me to restore the yacht. And I'd never done yacht architecture or design. It was an Edwardian design yacht. So it was a very peculiar form of interior styling that you had to be sensitizing yourself with. I delivered an award-winning yacht to him. Right. So you get good at doing things because you've been slogging your butt out. You do not really much care at that point in time what people are going to talk about you. You let your work speak, and each time somebody criticizes you. I remember a particular instance when I went on stage to receive an architecture award, and one of the people standing there was not too happy about it, me being a non-qualified architect, being called an architect. I don't call myself an architect. I'm very vocal about it, but people do. And if you get an award, people do have a problem. I still remember seeing his face. He was not happy about it at all.
Okay.
You take it with a pinch of salt and move ahead. What the hell? You're not living your life to satisfy the grudges of others who have against you.
True.
You create path-breaking work. Let your work proceed. When we went into hospitality, I was a designer. And a lot of people told me, you stick to design, you make your resort, or kisi 5-star ko chalane ke liye de de.
Okay.
And for me, I kept saying, I'll make a beautiful resort the way I think it should be done, because I was not a hospitality expert. But if ever I'm not able to run it, my resort will be so beautiful, there'll be any brand which will be willing to take over.
True.
And each year, initial stage of my life, 2010, 11, 12, this kept hounding me again and again. Then financially, people would say, why don't you give it over to a brand? You focus on design. Had I given up those days, today I would not be a hotelier and a so-called expert or pioneer of experiential hospitality in India.
True.
Right. It's 14 years of hard work. Your work speaks for itself. You get into any industry, you disrupt. Look at what Elon Musk is doing. I mean, he goes to beyond this planet and beyond, right?
Yeah.
And he's not qualified to do it.
I
So
agree.
we are chicken feet compared to what he's doing. So if we can take that inspiration, I guess we're only beginning to do good things.
You make it sound very humble beginnings, but as I assume, those were the days when nepotism was also high. Those were the days where people had godfathers or some kind of backing. You were self-made. You keep reinventing yourself, right? And I still went through all your information. I got to notice that your entrepreneurial journey started with a pest control business at the age of 19. I want to understand, because you have reinvented yourself from that age. What were the lessons that stayed with you throughout your career during that time?
I think one of the biggest lessons is allow yourself to think big. There should be no shortage in thinking big. And then gear up your energies to go ahead and achieve that. Shikchali ke sapne dekhne ka to sabko hak hai, par wo sapna hasil karna becomes very difficult. So if you are working towards it, you dream big and then you gear up, you self-learn. That's one of the biggest lessons I can give to people. I keep talking about Elon Musk. Elon Musk has self-learned everything, be it cars, be it goddamn anything that he touches whatsoever on this earth, manufacturing of batteries to tunnels to everything, to rapid human transportation and so on and so forth, right? So you allow yourself to self-learn. Most people have this thing, oh, but I'm not, so how will I know? Most of my senior people who join me and say, okay, I come from this background, but how will I know? And I'm like, dude, you can read, you can write, you can learn, you can research, you can Google, and then you can talk to people around. Never be shy to ask for help. And that's the differentiating factor, number one. Number two is consistency. There are a lot of people in life and a lot of youngsters start off and fizzle out and start off and depressed and high and low. You can't achieve anything. You need to consistently push and be at it. You can't allow yourself to stop even for a moment. You are riding a tiger as an entrepreneur, whatever stage, small, medium, large. You are riding a tiger.
Yeah.
You can't get off the tiger. You get off the tiger is going to finish you off.
True.
You need to ride the tiger. You need to hold it tight and ride it hard. So my 2 bits is point number 2: be very consistent. Dream big. Be very, very consistent in what you do, and it takes time, no matter what stage in life. Let me give you a couple of unsuccessful stories. I've been creating this massive 50,000 square feet mono-brand retail showroom, and that's my dream project. How many years I've been working on it? 10 years. I stopped doing commercial design for clients in 2013.
Okay.
This is my 11th year. I stopped doing so that I could take time off and do this. Being in the field, hardcore in design, it's taken me 11 years to create this business. The physical building showroom, 50,000 square feet, ideally should have been finished off by somebody like me in about 18 months or 24 months. It's taken me 7 years. And the showroom is still not complete. It's still happening.
What's the hurdle you're facing?
COVID happened in between.
Okay.
Too much of investments. We've exceeded the investments that we had planned originally. The business has evolved. We've created so much more than what we originally planned. Now our dreams, our backyard is New York, backyard is London. So naturally it's large. I'm there physically every alternate month to make sure the relationships continue and what work we are doing continues. It's not easy to do all of these things across, especially when you're trying to do things at a global level. For me, it's no longer about India. Like I said, 250 corporate headquarters, proved enough. Now, what is the next level? For me, next level is global.
Okay.
If I have steam in my work, people will call me to Shanghai, people will call me to Barcelona to design something. Right. That's the kind of high that I'm going about. So these are a couple of things in life. You need to be consistent. Everything is not as rosy as it sounds. It's very good to look at other people's Rolls Royces and Mercs. Do not be disappointed with your Marutis in any which way, because there's a time and place for everything. You need to be consistent.
True.
So these are the differentiating factors I feel I've applied in my life. And always your purpose has to be larger than making money. This is not just a business mantra that I follow, but I believe in it, because otherwise it becomes khokla.
Yeah.
What you're trying to achieve becomes very hollow and shallow.
True.
Everybody wants to make money for themselves. There's nothing new.
Yeah.
When you're trying to do something for your country, you're trying to do something for your fraternity, you're delivering something which is disruptive, that's where there is value, and that's where there is steam, and that's where there's power that comes to you, which is unlike anybody else, right? Puts you in a whole different space.
But seeing you as such passionate entrepreneur, I am very curious to ask you, there's always a debate going on currently right now with this generation, which is work-life balance. What is your take on that?
There's nothing like work-life balance. It's the biggest bubble around. Ask any entrepreneur, ask any startup ecosystem who's serious and who's made it big or medium. There's nothing like work-life balance. You can achieve only one thing. You're running a race. You tell the person who's running a race, let's do a balance. इतना मेहनत मत करो, थोड़ा संभल जाओ, थोड़ा slow चल लो.
Yeah.
जिंदगी बहुत छोटी है.
True.
But still win the race.
Yeah.
You either are on a race track to win the race, or you remain outside and be a spectator and clap for the person who's running there. You cannot be doing both of these things. So if people say work-life balance, it's a biggest bubble that needs to be kind of got to a realistic term. I keep sharing it with all my people and my employees. We have about crossed 2,500 employees across, and there's nothing like a work-life balance. Yes, having said that, all of us have families and all of us have responsibilities. I'm a father. I'm a son. I need to do that as well.
True.
But if I say my focus is not work, I'll be lying. Right? So you cannot be a hypocrite who says, no, I manage my work-life balance very well. I've never been to my school kids programs, annual program I went, but through the year, monthly days, I do not know any of that. Does it mean I've been a bad father? I don't think so. I am the closest friend for all 3 children. So for me, that's work-life balance, right? You have truth in your relationships. Even they know for me, work comes before anything and everything else. Does that mean I don't take care of my mom? It doesn't. Does that mean when my dad was alive, I didn't take care of him? But the amount of time and quality time that I would have loved to spend with them and all of that cannot happen.
And also, you wouldn't have achieved what you have achieved, right?
You can't do it.
There
You need to
are
be
no
honest.
shortcuts.
Like I said, you're running a race, you're on the racetrack. So your job is to go out and win the race.
True.
You can't decide. You want to be a spectator, you want to be on the racetrack.
So, a person like you, what is your checklist when you're hiring employees? I'm sure you must have a certain quality you're looking for in your employees.
Smartness, overall smartness is very, very critical. I don't go on educational qualifications. Okay, they tick me, the tick box is there. But
So your IIT tag is...
it's not important to me.
Wow, okay.
It's not important to me at all. Of course, I'll be very happy when an IITian is working with me. Some of my closest friends are IITians, but that's not the criteria for me to select. For me to select is how high EQ does the person have? The emotional quotient is very, very critical. What is the person's vision? Can I take this person along with me and align this person to my vision? That's critical to me. Because a person might be an IITian, person might be from NID, person might be from Harvard or Oxford. How does it really impact my life and my career?
True.
And my business? If the person is not going to have sincerity towards what my vision is and align, and is going to only use me as a passing gap, it doesn't really align. Having said that, some of these people do fantastic value adds. You respect them. You hire their services for that particular purpose. But on a long-term basis, if I have people within the organization, for me, EQ is very, very important.
Okay.
Hard work is very, very important. Consistency is very, very important. Same principles that I have for myself in my life is what I have for my people. When I see somebody bullshitting me, I lose it. Somebody taking me for granted, I lose it. And then I really don't care if it's a man, woman, child, old, young. I have no filters. So I'm not one of those very goody bosses who's very Mr. Popular or Miss Popular in the organization. I'm not here to be a Mr. Popular. I'm here to run an organization as a leader. My conscience has to be clear.
True.
Every decision of mine has to wait on my conscience. If it waits on my conscience, I can be ruthless.
Okay.
It has to wait on my conscience.
Okay.
So I'm very religious. I'm very clear. If I'm not doing wrong to somebody, I can be as nasty to the human. I don't care. So that's my way of looking at things. But my conscience should be very, very clear on that.
True.
Right? Because what you do is going to come back to you many folds.
True.
So you are nasty to somebody, it's going to come back to you. You are powerful, you're going to push a weak person down. Somebody more powerful is going to push you down. Right? So if you are very conscious about this fact of life, you can still display exemplary leadership.
True.
But there'll always be disgruntled people who will be cribbing on your name and will be calling your atmosphere toxic and whatever phraseologies are going on across in the HR world right now on Glassdoor and Ambition Box and shit like that. Because I don't think a person who's positive is going to sit and put comments on it.
True.
Why do you, when you go to an Ambition Box, why do you only see negative? Right. And whatever positive is because your HR is slogged to just balance out those negatives. Realities. Whoever works with you, the person is happy, is not going to go and write, I'm very happy on Ambition Box. But all disgruntled employees are 100% going to go and put up a remark there.
True.
Why are they disgruntled is not the question.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of bogies join your organization because they come from other bogie organizations. No matter what interviews you do, you filter, you still end up hiring bogies. My job as a leader is to identify bogies and eliminate them. Identify cancers and eliminate them.
But do you micromanage these hirings?
I either micromanage or I completely delegate. I don't do in between.
Okay.
So anything new being set up, I completely micromanage. All my restaurants, the spoon, cup, tea, saucer, plates, everything selected by me. Inwards of veggies, blah, blah, fixing up branded products. Though I would understand nothing in a kitchen. My ideology in life is just use branded products. I do not want any spurious stuff coming into my kitchen. Buy only branded mutton, buy branded chicken, fresh produce, right? So you have those ideologies. You hire a purchase person who's completely corrupt, realizes that idhar kuch dal galne wali nahi hai. Naturally, the person is going to leave your job, go out and put a negative comment of toxic culture on Ambition Box.
True.
Do you care? I don't care. I mean, I've never cared and I don't care and I still stand by it.
Okay.
Right. So when I read negative comments on others and HR pundits are very concerned about the reputation on these two platforms, I really don't care. like I said, it's an open challenge. So I've got 2,500 employees. I don't think even 2,400 of my employees would have ever put a comment there. That's not the platform for them to express their pride or happiness.
No, I agree, because in India, we have less of unicorns coming in, but mostly whatever unicorns are coming, maximum of the employees are giving negative feedback, right?
Toxic culture.
Yeah.
But like I said, you're running a race, right? There may be some fraction genuinity is one. I shared this example with my people. It's all about perception. So I'm a late night person. I'm not an early morning person. I often stretch my work to late hours of the night, and it's a daily routine for me. I work with different teams. Apart from my personal staff, it's all different teams of people. So we finish work and then we sit down for dinner. So we move from office to a place where we sit and have dinner. You naturally have a drink or two whilst you're having dinner, but on that dinner, nothing besides work is discussed. No matter how many times we tell ourselves, because 15, 20 of you sit down and it's just work that continues to happen. Imagine the people who are standing outside that dinner hall at a distance, looking at all of you sit, eat and drink, and TV is going on. What is their perception? Party ho rahi hai.
True.
What are you really doing? As a leader, to the last drop of your blood, to the last minute of your day, you are giving to your organization.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
Yahan to roz party hoti hai.
I understand.
Right, that's the security guard's perception.
True.
And that's the perception of the new bogies who have joined you and are looking at you, and who you not letting to make money or take bribes in your organization, who you tighten their working hours. Their perception is, oh, you are enjoying.
True.
The reality is, as a leader, you are as conscious, you're slogging your butt out. Yes, you're having your dinner. Yes, you're having a drink, but you're only working.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
So reality and perception in organizations and the unicorn culture. So unicorn founders must be sitting and slogging and working, but the perception is its toxic culture.
True.
Right.
So you have achieved a lot, right? And you are still so passionate. And I see you are micromanaging in all the sectors you're present in. How do you maintain this? Because what makes you micromanage? Because there are people says, "Mere foundation le kar diya hai." There are people who will manage it. And that person is more active in BPR events and all. But you're doing still everything. How are you doing that?
So I think it's a myth that I'm micromanaging everything. I either micromanage or I completely delegate. All those things that are set up and are running, I don't micromanage them at all, unless there's a problem or an event that happens there. All the new setups, I completely micromanage because there is no other solution. We can't afford the BCGs of the world to come and lay down systems and processes, and hence you don't need to look at it. In our case, we need to look at and set up everything. You are the consultant, you are the leader. If you don't set it up, nobody else is going to set it up. So you want to run a professional organization, benchmark yourself against MNCs, not run it like a Lala company. You will have to get into every single thing and set up every single department. Having said that, you'll end up doing what you want to do because you really, really believe in the causes for each of the verticals to grow. Also, a lot depends upon whether you get into micromanagement or you stay out of it on the percentage of growth you're doing. So today we've got 6 resorts, 300 keys. I'm taking it to 1,000 keys. It's not going to happen without micromanaging, right?
True.
You lose the true essence of the brand, what you've created as experiential hospitality. Other guys will come in, they'll take it in directions that is not your brand. They'll make it into something which is a cheap brand on the road, or they'll not be having the same EQ attachment with your guests. So there is a lot of risk you have. I think the udaharan I can give is very simple. There's a kahavat in Hindi that Hanuman ji बहुत तेज भागते थे. हनुमान जी बहुत तेज भागते थे इसलिए उनकी पूंछ पे अंगार लगी थी. So entrepreneurs are like this. पूंछ पे अंगार लगी है. हमारे पास कोई choice नहीं है. हमें तेज भाग के we need to achieve everything in this 24 hours. There is no scope for us to do anything beyond.
But tell me, because in India we have seen a growth in hospitality, right? There's been new co-living, affordable boutique stays, everything coming in. Once the funding comes in, once the expansion starts, the essence they had maintained in the beginning is not present. That's why they lose customer. That's why they face a lot of problem. So how do you make sure the kind of benchmark that you're setting with all the endeavors you're taking is following the same essence you started with the first, be the project or be the sector wise?
So let me begin by saying hospitality is a difficult business, right? We hear about it, we don't understand it. It's genuinely a very difficult business. Within hospitality, if you're going to create a brand and be recognized by that brand, it's an even more difficult business. To give you some statistics within the 5-star segment of hospitality, standalone brands, the percentage chances of them being successful is only about 3.
Wow. Okay.
97% brands fail. As a standalone, 5-star is an institution. Laundry, bakery, transport, employees. So Della Resorts, Lonavala alone is 1,750 employees. That's an institution to run, right? And it's not manufacturing. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Each day, we often joke that we should make it into a reality show because we've got 850 CCTV cameras and every day there's something happening. A tree falls on a car and the car is crashed. Somebody gets a heart attack. Somebody pops it in the room. Somebody dislocates. Somebody slips. Every day something happens. And all the responsibility of the smiling face is yours. Somebody finds it too spicy. Somebody finds it too salty. Everything is your responsibility. What you do is you try and decide what is the brand you're trying to create and genuinely what are you able to deliver.
Right.
You may call yourself XYZ. I may call my resort a wellness resort. Does it become a wellness resort? No, it's only a name. It's a fake one.
True.
I call myself an experiential hospitality company and I'm the pioneer of this hospitality understanding in business. So for me, I need to be remaining true to it and I need to deliver. I need to deliver experiences to you as a guest. And I need to keep constantly innovating and genuinely delivering that experience to you as a guest throughout. Isodore Sharp is for me. He's never mentored me. I've never met the man, the founder of Four Seasons. I've read his book and that book became my Bible to hospitality.
Okay.
He went through the same thing. Rapid expansion of Four Seasons at one point in time. Four Seasons brand collapsed.
True.
Till the time he became the chief trainer himself. You're speaking of micromanagement. He actually started training employees in every new property personally himself.
Okay.
That's how the essence of Four Seasons is Four Seasons.
True.
It's a fantastic brand which gives fantastic experiences to guests. Ritz-Carlton is yet another extreme example. 2 other Indians which have really done India proud in hospitality is Sonu Shivdasani, the founder of Six Senses brand.
Yeah.
He created Six Senses. And of course, he got out of it with his lovely wife. And then he created Soneva. And what a brand he's created. Soneva Jani, Soneva Fushi, Soneva Secret. That's the example that one should emulate and learn from. He's never let the brand Soneva kind of dilute because he's involved. Now, if you say, does he micromanage? He doesn't care whether you say micromanage, delegated. He's making sure the essence of the brand is right there. He and his lovely wife are working towards the brand every day of their life. Right. So that's what entrepreneurs need to learn. In the disguise of delegation, even I would love to delegate everything, right? But then you don't expect your brand to be still the same.
True.
Because unless you have a next in line which is emotionally attached to the brand as you are as the founder, the ethos of the brand and the value system of the brand will not really translate down to them. And your consumers and your customers will be able to know the difference very, very quickly. So for me, it's very critical to hold the brand very close to our heart. Somebody appoints me as a designer. The only reason they appoint me is they know that this guy is mad. He'll create something extraordinary. You don't need to interfere. You don't need to tell me. You don't need to coax me. You don't need to check me. You can't check me, rather. If you give me something, you give me a home to design, I'll give my heart and soul.
Okay.
I'm doing a home for the founder of Ad Factors, Madan Bahl. I designed Ad Factors corporate office years back. And Madan and Dolly's residence I'm designing with all my heart and passion. Madan and Dolly don't need to tell me anything. Of course, they'll tell me their likes and dislikes, but every bit of that house, I'll do it with all my love, all my passion, all my heart. That's the essence of my brand.
So what is your take? I understand hospitality sector itself is difficult, but there are so many players coming in from India brand, right? There are staycations, there are rental vacation homes, everything. Some say they are disruptors, but some say they are not managing it well when they're expanding. So what is your take when you see, not talking about 5-star, but they are affordable hospitality. I don't want to take the brand names, but what is your take when you see such new players coming in India in this particular sector?
Again, it's the differentiating factor is the passion of the founders and the passion of the operators.
Right.
So if anybody is being funded and they're rapidly expanding across because markets are good and Indian hospitality is seeing the best days of its entire existence in the last 78 years of India's freedom, they need to be very conscious about hiring professionals who will drive the values of their brand and stay focused on the brand and the customer experience. If they don't do that, all of this expansion is going to be very hollow, because whether you pick up an employee from A brand and put it on B and B to C, consumer is not going to feel the difference because the person is not being inducted into this brand culture.
True.
We spend a lot of time with our people, taking them to the journey, making them understand what the brand stands for, and how we started and what is special. Even our driver sitting in a car will be able to narrate our stories to you. Right? It all comes with trying to get that passion ignited into every single person.
Right.
And a lot of energy goes into it. It doesn't happen by default. Also, most times the organizations are not very clear of what the brand philosophy is, because they've appointed a branding agency and some bachas in the agency have documented something and given it, and it's a very fake brand in front of you. But they have the money for expansion, so they expand it.
Yeah.
But will it create a Taj of the future? No, because Taj started with passion of Jamshedji Nasranji Tata.
True.
He went to Paris World Expo and picked up the cast iron columns, and he picked up the crockery and the cutlery. It didn't start by hiring a couple of MBAs who are going to now roll out the next level of chain of brands.
No, I agree. I agree.
So it's to do with the culture. I'm not saying expansion is not possible. Look at LVMH. LVMH expanded like mad.
Yeah.
Still, the essence of the brand is never lost. They are inventing themselves, reinventing themselves each day of their lives.
So you feel franchise model works in hospitality?
Yeah. Once you expand beyond a point, you have to franchise your brand. There is no solution. Della is doing it. We've started signing DM contracts with developers across. We have come with 6 townships to expand 300 rooms to 1,000 rooms. But we are designing, developing, managing, and operating. We are not further in turn sub-franchising it to somebody to build, somebody to design, and somebody to operate. We are going to remain true to our brand, even if I don't exceed too many. But that size, no matter where we reach, we want to make sure that we really achieve the pinnacle of experiential hospitality in India. And who knows, in future we are able to take our brand global. So that's the aspiration for me.
So how do you balance, I would say, innovation with functionality in your projects?
Any innovation, if it's deep-rooted, there is a moat. It has to be functional. I can't design a chair or a table for you that doesn't function well in terms of products. I can't design a hotel room that is innovative but doesn't work for you. Right? I need to create spaces that will work for you as a consumer. So you need to put yourself in the other person's shoes. And this comes in from design thinking. This comes in from design thinking, problem solving, because in design thinking, one of the first principles are empathy, rapid prototyping, collation of data, from the person's point of view, not from your point of view, not from the manufacturer's point of view, end user point of view is the only thing that's taken into consideration. That's one of the founding principles of design thinking. So if you've designed something from the customer's point of view, and then it's disruptive from the customer's point of view, naturally it's going to be a combination is going to be deadly.
True.
We disrupted the hotel formats. We done so much of innovation with the world of hospitality. We innovated India's first extreme adventure park. There were theme parks. There's no extreme adventure park. Ours is the first and the only extreme adventure park, right?
True.
From bungee jumping to swoop swinging to zip lines, so everything which is extreme adventure. We didn't put any video games and we didn't put any of that because we want to be remaining true to our concept. So we pioneered that. We also pioneered military tourism in India. We set up the world's first, not India's first, world's first luxury military themed resort 8 years back. It's known as Della Data. Last 3 years in a row, it's been winning TripAdvisor's guest awards, coming amongst the top 1% in the world, not in India.
Wow. That's
so
great.
3 years in a row.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're remaining so true, it's an innovation. Every guest has to get into a military camouflage uniform. Everybody comes back saying Jai Hind with a different vigor. We ignite passion for the country. So we are remaining true in our innovation from the consumer's point of view. So it's a counterterrorism training academy for civilians. Civilians don't have such an academy. Professionals के लिए पूरी academies होती है. Security guard से लेके तो security officer से लेके to martial arts practitioners, everybody has an academy to go and get trained. Where does a civilian take his family and get trained for a terrorist attack? Right? So you do that. What I'm trying to communicate is you need to innovate, disrupt, do everything with a consumer's point of view. So if you're a real estate developer, you're building homes for people.
True, yeah.
If you were building it for yourself and you were going to live in that 550 square feet apartment, how will you innovate? My first house, my bedroom was 77 square feet. And my 3 kids were born in that room.
Okay.
Right? 77 square feet. So every inch as a designer, I'd optimize and create it. So today when I'm creating or designing a small apartment in Dahisar or small apartment in Vasai, how can I put my inkling not from the man who's living in a large house, but from the man who has only this much? Every inch has to be optimized. Can I cause disruption there? Right. Disruption in India doesn't work when you open up kitchens in the living room because Indian cooking doesn't allow for that. You're not making pasta and you're not doing light-hearted flavors with garnishes. You are using Indian masala, heavy oil frying. You can never have an open kitchen and cook Indian food.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
So you need a partition. You do so you do disruption, but think from the point of the occupier.
Yeah.
So that's and this principle is applicable in all businesses. When I designed Kingfisher aircrafts, A380s, that time 380 had not come, went to Pittman's, US, New York, tried to figure out what design they've done for the aircraft. I was designing the lounges in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi airports. I wanted to pick the same aircraft experience. So the bar of 380 at the business class lounge, I tried to create in the lounge and ground. Because I thought from the point of view of the customer.
Yeah.
You design from the point of view of the end user. You never design for yourself.
True.
A lot of people become egoistic as designers and as management. They start doing everything from their point of view. They forget the reality on ground.
True.
Hence, I am again coming back to my design thinking principles. One of the first principles is get to the teams, get to the end user. Collate data from the end user directly because they know it more than you.
True, true. So we did discuss about the micromanaging part, but here I want to understand, how would you look back and see your leadership style has evolved from the early days till now where you're, overseeing the multiple business verticals that you have opened?
I've been very fortunate as a designer to work very closely with more than 250 managements. And that experience has been my learning ground to hone my skill set as a leader. I have worked with some of the finest leaders. Rajiv Bajaj sitting at Bajaj Auto headquarters discussing designs of bikes 5 years from now. And I would come out and think, shit, I have not even thought of the next 5 months of my business. Right? Yeah. So you'd learn an open door policy, very humble, very simple, to somebody who was like Vijay Mallya was very flamboyant, to somebody like Subrata Roy Sahara who was very flamboyant, but was a visionary. Right. So, and then to a very Lala organization, and you instantly know that, oh, there's a big tamjam in the media, but when you start meeting management and understand the culture, you realize there's a complete Lala organization.
Okay.
Right. Which has no values, no ethics, no moral, but yeah, they have a big brand.
Right.
They're still fancy to the world. But so you, as a designer, get the opportunity to engage with managements of the world and their people. So when you're working in a large organization, they own multiple companies, and CEOs of multiple companies, because they're going to move into the headquarters, they start interacting with you. The CFO starts interacting with you of the group. So you start understanding how leadership styles at the top work. How does the leadership below them behave and represent themselves? Are they squabbling over small things? I remember very large listed entity. The CFO and the director of the second company both are kind of trying to talk to me and say, oh, but my cabin is this size. What's his cabin size? I was like shocked.
Okay.
Chairman of a listed company didn't know the full form of ESG.
Okay.
So that speaks volumes. भगवान ही बचाएंगे ऐसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से. उनको सस्टेनेबिलिटी के साथ कोई लेना देना रहेगा ही नहीं, because the main man is only talking about his stock value and his money. He is not bothered. He thinks everything is compliance.
True.
So if the main person is not empathetic towards planet Earth, towards society, environmental sustainability, social sustainability, what good can this man do? He might be worth 30,000 crores. It's of no value to me.
Yeah.
I remember a very large finance company that I designed in Vakola, and very large, one of largest in India. The chairman, I was passionately talking about the brand, and we'll do this and we'll do this. The man said, how many people are in this building? When are you finishing? What is it costing us? And I have a meeting. My assistant will now work with you.
Okay.
So the chairman's assistant, the only thing she wanted, I didn't mind working with an assistant. That was not the correct. Only thing she wanted, how much of filing storage am I getting? The very next minute, I got up and I said bye-bye. I was blunt. I was rude. Of course, grace of God, I've got enough work where I can afford to just ask a client to buzz off. So I've done that in the past. Customers like these, I do not want to spend my time designing for them.
Right.
So coming back to you.
How did your leadership style evolve?
My leadership style has completely changed. Learning, I've been absorbing like a sponge from each one of these people.
Okay.
There's so much to learn from some of them. Some of them have been finest game changers, very soft-spoken, very humble. Some of them have been very brash. Some of them have been, so it's all of this learning from South India to North India to in West. How people managements behave differently because of their upbringing and their businesses.
Yes.
From manufacturing segment to service segment, how people behave, how media behaves.
Right.
All the organizations I told you from Star to Z, Sara, NDTV, MTV, Channel V, Neo Sports, all were designed by us. So we've seen people join organizations like Star, like Peter and Samir at a VP level and coming from up the ranks, becoming CEOs. Then I've worked for their own private companies. When Peter started 9X, I designed 9X for him. Samir started NDTV Imagine, I designed NDTV Imagine for him. So you see styles of people working.
True.
And what they've contributed to the organization and the kind of legacy they're leaving behind. I think it's been an amazing learning experience, and this much amount of learning experience, I don't think even a Cornell would have given me.
I agree. So talking about sustainability, I want to understand, how do you integrate sustainability practices in your projects, and how does sustainability play in modern design?
Sustainability is a buzzword. The other day I was joking around with somebody. We opened up one of my company catalogs where we are writing our philosophy, vision, mission. And that catalog was printed 15 years back. We were talking of sustainability then.
Okay.
15 years back, when it was not the buzzword whatsoever. Sustainability comes from within. And again, comes back to empathy. So I often keep saying, forget giving all the gyan to people. Just make sure that every management person has to take a deep dive in empathy and has to learn about empathy. Whether they are empathetic humans or no is a separate story, because empathy can be taught. And with empathy, any human who's empathetic can cause no harm to the environment. They will never put sewage out in the open. They will never let groundwater run away. They will always want to conserve energy. They'll always want to save. They'll always want to, again, sustainability comes in social sustainability, environmental sustainability. They'll always be more empathetic to the environments they work in. So Della has adopted a ZP school. And today my kids are 260 Adivasi children. We give them breakfast, lunch every day, their uniforms, their education. It was only till 7th. We got it done to 10th. Then we got it done to 12th. I ran up to 10th illegally because they would give exams. I didn't have the certification. So they would give exams from a nearby school which was 1 hour away. Till the time we moved the government, used our influence and got permission up to 12th. And we adopted that school. Now it's Della, officially named as Della ZP school. I wanted to make it into a case study for people to emulate. So empathy is the root. And that's why unless and until the management has people who are empathetic, once they are empathetic, they can cause, at the cost of money, they'll never cause harm to the environment.
Right.
And that goes into manufacturing processes, that goes into people. So social and environmental, both things will be balanced in every organization. No amount of compliance will work. Because when people are having a certain attitude towards making money, they'll make money at any cost.
True.
But when people are having a certain attitude, they will never cause harm to planet Earth or to plants or to animals at the cost of making money.
Right.
then the amount of money doesn't matter. I mean, it's not even into consideration.
True.
No matter what amount of money you might bleed or lose, you will never compromise safety of animals or well-being of humans in your area by polluting that environment. Methods of doing it are too many. And some of the methods that we feel, I very strongly feel that I'm created to put India in a certain places. A global industry thought leadership positioning. One of our townships that we are developing in Alibag at Kashit, the non-commercial side of the township and the excitement for me, we are creating the world's first carbon net zero and sustainability experience center.
Okay.
It's a foundation. It's a Della DLC ESG foundation that's doing it. And we managed to convince the world's #1 architect and designer, Thomas Heatherwick Studios UK, to design that building. We are speaking to his team and convincing. He's still not nodded, but I hope that he agrees. That's the building that I want him to design, because it's a symbolic statement to the world.
Right.
That Thomas Heatherwick designing is a symbolic statement, and he designing a sustainability and a carbon net zero permanent exhibition. Where is this house? It's not New York, it's not in LA, but it's in India, in Alibag.
Wow.
And that's going to play a key role into displaying every component that goes in the construction industry, which leads towards new generation technologies, sustainability, carbon neutrality, and any knowledge, know-how that can be displayed. I want this exhibition center to be displaying it. And it's not once a year, it's a permanent exhibition center.
Right.
Right. And we are then inviting the biggest people in the world to all participate and be as patrons to guide this NGO that's going to run and work towards construction materials. One of the people that we are working with is Danny Foster. Danny is working with a new construction technology with Warren Buffett's company, which is in modular construction that's going to reduce carbon footprints drastically. It's been a 7-year project. So that kind of a human is going to be a patron on the board of this foundation. Thomas being designer will be there. So we are picking up the best people in the world, and collective knowledge will work towards improving planet Earth in whatever little way we can.
Right.
But India taking a role in it is my excitement.
So tell me, give me your insights, because in real estate, what I've noticed when it comes to sustainability, commercial buildings are doing that because they get a certification. But residential players, which are the major players, are of course taking that into practice. But most of the players are not, because they think it's expensive to the project, expensive overall. How do you look at that when it comes to residents?
Again, going back to my statement, there are managements who have not been sensitized to empathy, and hence they will never understand and never get it right. And then there are managements who are empathetic and will never cause harm to the environment,
right,
at the cost of making more money. So these are two different paddhatis to think. Compliances and more checks and balances, more letting the consumer know what they yet not know. I'll repeat it again. Letting the consumer know what they yet not know.
Right.
So the consumer starts demanding it. Right? Because that's the only way you'll be able to drive change in environmental sustainability practices. Because when the consumer demands, the consumer is not willing to use a plastic bottle. Only glass. Automatic plastic bottle will get faded out of the market.
Right.
Same way in construction. If the consumer is demanding a low-E glass, the builders will be compelled to provide it. There's a cost difference, very marginal compared to the electricity consumption. Is going to pay off in about a year and a half. Rest of life, this air conditioning electricity of 5% or 2% is going to be saved.
Right.
Right. So there's a chain reaction like that. A lot of work needs to be done in putting up stipulations across.
True.
And only when you do these very stringently, developers will be compelled to do certain things in certain ways.
True.
Morbi manufactures fantastic tiles. There should be a blanket ban on imports of global tile companies in India, according to me.
No, I agree.
Right.
True,
so
true.
there is. It's not about unfair trade practices. It's about sustainability. Why would you import a tile from Spain and create so much of a carbon footprint by the time it reaches here, just because some Sethia wants a Spanish tile? Similar tiles, identical tiles can be made in Morbi.
Yeah.
Morbi is fantastic. Thousands of companies making products for the country that can do us proud and competing with China on a global level. Right. So I think checks and balances need to be done. And that's the only way to get hardcore sustainability and carbon neutrality, or neutrality to nahi ho sakta hai, but whatever saving that we can do, where the developers will be compelled to. There is no choice. Right. For example, any kind of a residential building, the top floor slabs, they are never thermally insulated. Now, if you put it in OC, that the top slab has to be given a thermal insulation. Insulation will cost you 50 rupees a square feet, 100 rupees a square feet if you use the finest, right? 100 rupees a square feet against a 15,000 rupees square feet sale in the cheapest area in Vasai. Right. And 1,30,000 rupees sale in South Bombay.
Right.
It's nothing.
True.
Right. But you can still keep that percentage of heat out.
Yes.
And that can become a norm. There are hundreds such examples I can give you in construction industry. As far as those norms can be shoved down builders' throats and implemented.
No,
there are too many of them. This is, the list is endless. I can keep rattling of what more can be done. Right. So this is a method of doing it where we can conserve energy. And the number of ways are unlimited.
No, I agree, because there are a lot of brands in India who does recycled tiles, and they are getting less of orders from developers, right? Because as you said, they want to showcase Italian marble it's come from Spain and whatsoever. So tell me, I have read about it. You are a highly advocate of when it comes to Atmanirbhar, right? So how do you practice that?
I think I'm super passionate about Brand India. So the Counterterrorism Training Academy is dedicated to that, igniting passion for the country. For me, Brand India is very, 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 very critical and important. Positioning India on global map is very, very critical and important. This is just something that I'm kind of hardwired. The purpose of my life is that. That's the kind of to extreme my belief system in this whole dedicating your life to the country. In a manner, of course, you are doing business, but in a manner, dedicating your work. At the end of the day, when I turn back, I should have contributed something to my country.
True.
That's the kind of feeling and emotions I have. Atmanirbhar Bharat, the best way we can, do something for the country, and which is what I'm trying to do. It's a very tall order and a dream. If you go to my website, Della.in, you'll see the first statement. The first Indian meta luxury brand.
Yeah.
Making waves globally in luxury interiors and architecture products and projects. So for me, in 78 years of India's freedom, India has not produced one consumer-facing uber luxury design brand.
Okay.
And everything I'm working on is now heading to that. How can I sell my products in New York in high-end design, not handicrafts? How can I sell my products in London? How can I create products that they have not seen? How can I compete with the Italians? How can I compete with China in luxury? China, not in economy. So China makes the world's cheapest office workstations. I make the world's most expensive workstations. Even America doesn't manufacture them. I make the world's most expensive workstations. I make the world's most expensive desks. Now, the designs are high-end, cutting edge, something that I can display at a Milan Salone, or I can display it in the Paris show, or I can display it in High Point, North Carolina. That's the kind of designs we've created. So my next high is to putting these products on a global platform and getting Indian representation in high-end design.
And all made in India.
Everything is made in India. Everything, including the tech, including the motors, the electronics, everything made in India, apart from chipsets and components.
Right.
We even create our own circuit boards.
Nice.
See, when your intention is to be integrating it, you'll do it. True. Your intention is to use a shortcut and take everything from China, put your Thappa logo and sell it to somebody. Then you're going to keep cheating your country in very ways. Government can come up with anything and you'll find a way to cheat them.
I agree.
When your intention is to put Brand India out there, I think at the end of my life, if I've achieved something over here and India's name gets associated synonymous with high-end luxury, that's going to be the biggest achievement of my life.
True. I agree. So I'm coming back to your Parsi heritage, because through Parsi Resource Group, you have contributed a lot towards the community upliftment. How do you align such endeavors to align with your professional or personal vision as well?
I don't mean to sound prophetic, but I keep coming back to the purpose of life. if my purpose of life is to put my country on a global map, that's the purpose of my life. If my purpose of my life is to uplift my community, that's the purpose of my life. And you'll always find 1,000 ways to do it.
Right.
Right. The purpose of my life is to do something good in dharmic sthals. I'll design Siddhivinayak Ji's mandir and I'll design any other mandir. And it just, I need to be a devout person to the deity who wants to do it. And these thoughts and aspirations keep coming. So as a Parsi, yes, we worked with the priest of the community that really required to be supported. I set up the priest NGO organization in 2005. And since 2005, I've been working with the Parsi priests, their wives and children, and supporting them with cashless Mediclaim policy for all of them, unconditionally given to them, and working towards their upliftment. I also fought a very, very ugly election and became a trustee of the Bombay Parsi Panchayat. That was in 2008. I served my term for 7 years. And we had fireworks there and so on and so forth. But I served my purpose to the community. Till the time I was in office, did my level best. I wish I could have done more. And then again, I've taken a break from that part of it, but not from community service. I'm still involved with the community in any possible ways that I can.
Right.
In fact, I'm getting my first actual community recognition. This year on 29th of December, we have our Udwada Utsav, where the head priest of the community is chairing that entire committee. Every year we celebrate, there's a festival at Udwada to celebrate our Holy Fires anniversary. It's known as a Iran Shah Utsav. And Prime Minister Modi has been there in the past and so on and so forth. And the Gujarat CM. I'm one of the 3 people being acknowledged and awarded this year for my work to the community by the head priest himself. So that's gratifying when your community acknowledges what you've done. Because there's too much of bickering and too much of infighting and too much of those things. But on the other side, when the community at that level acknowledges, it feels good. But there's a lot that needs to be done to the community. And Parsis really, really require to take care of their priests. That's my motto. Within my community, everything else is fantastic. But if that one thing I could have done. So now the only way out is towards the end of my career, when I have some kind of a windfall, when I sell some equity stakes in some companies and I have a substantial windfall, a substantial part of that windfall should go lump sum towards the upliftment of the priests and the community. And upwards of 100 crores should be parked towards that kind of a thing. So if at all ever I am looking at exiting, not ever a business, but exiting something as an equity, at least 100 crores should be parked towards that. That's my vision. Apart from that, there are so many other causes I'm working on. So I would want to dedicate in sustainability and would want to dedicate in upliftment and upkeep and take care for pets, especially dogs. I have about 76 dogs. And so for me, I'm very emotionally attached to pets, environment, pets, uplifting India's brand globally. Indians have a herd mentality. So if I can be that first person to create one consumer-facing brand, बाकी सब ऐसे ही आ जाएंगे. And that is a game changer for our country, because you cannot, Atmanirbhar Bharat can be truly Atmanirbhar when you just don't make in India, but you design in India.
True.
If you just make in India or become a sweatshop and factories to the world like China has been, when you design in India, that's the game changer. Italians will never be out of jobs. No matter what amount of recession, because they're designers, they'll always be in demand. They are innovators, creators, designers. Indians are equally talented, equally passionate. They just need to get out of the jugaad mindset and they get into a design thinking, which is process-oriented mindset. That's the differentiating factor.
And now 2025 around the corner, what is there in the pipeline?
There's enough for me lined up. Like I said, I want to launch the first Indian meta-luxury brand on global platform. I also want to launch the world's first collaborative design platform where I've got 20 of the biggest designers in the world to partner me and create this platform. Something like that doesn't exist in the world. So that's the big one, because it's going to make a global wave. It's going to position brand. The minute this news goes out globally, it's going to position brand India a couple of notches higher.
True. Because
within the design and real estate world, they'll say, excuse me, what's happening? Why are 20 of the top architects all looking at India? So it's not just my personal wish of working on those projects and making money with them, but the statement is going to be a powerful game changer for brand India.
True, true.
And I want PMO's office to know about it, that this is what can be achieved by one human.
Yeah.
So this is just 20, this is beginning. I'll bring in 20 more. I'll bring in 50 more. Because I believe design in India has to happen. And by bringing global designers, you're not undermining Indian design talent. Each of these designers will work with Indian designers on a collaborative platform.
Wow.
So that transfer of knowledge and methods of working and processes to learn for us Indians is going to be a huge opportunity.
True.
So if I work with a global designer like Thomas Heatherwick, the amount of happiness I get and the amount of learning I get is incredible.
True.
You know, कभी सोचने नहीं मिलता है वैसा, unless and until I don't work with him. If I don't go into Thomas's studio in London and be around with him, I don't get to understand his method of working. How can I deploy that over here?
And
That's a game changer.
Access is also not there. It will
Grace of God, my destiny gets all doors open up to me. That's
not to you. The endeavor you're coming, you bring an amazing
So
access.
imagine in Lucknow, Raipur, Indore, Bhopal, Chandigarh, Amritsar, townships, real estate coming up, which are designed by these guys, and they've been Indianized because I'm the partner.
True.
So it's no longer going to be that they take fat payments in New York and after that you are lost and they don't understand how Indians work. I'm going to make sure I collaborate, I Indianize it to the Indian consumer requirement.
Right.
So that's a part of this collaborative design platform. So that needs to be launched. We are working towards a launch hopefully in Jan, Feb. I'm trying to get everybody together to India and do it. It's going to be a big event. So there are two major things. And the third thing is our townships being launched. So Pune in Darumbre is coming up first. I need to physically launch that township. And then comes rest of the 6 townships during the course of the year.
Yes.
Plus we are looking to go to other developers in India and look for DM agreements for us. I'm looking at least 25 to 30 cities in India to set up Della townships. Includes hospitality, adventure, plotted villa development, and Della branded residences.
Right.
Where each of the global designers will work with me in these projects. So there's a lot that's tied up.
Right.
And there's a lot that's on my plate.
Nice.
Plus in product manufacturing, we are launching 16 brands into piano of luxury interiors. So everything from furniture to lights to sanitary ware to faucets, carpets, paints. So we are manufacturing all of this. We are manufacturing factories in Daman.
Okay.
So there's a lot on my plate right now.
True.
Plus DLC Guide has gone global. We are launching DLC Guide in Mumbai at JW Marriott on 17th. And that's going to be a big statement in Mumbai with the kind of people and the passion.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot that's happening across every day of my life.
So before we wrap up, quickly I'm going to do a rapid fire. Don't think twice and give me a crisp answer to those. Yeah?
Sure.
So the best advice that you have ever received and the worst advice. And not necessarily you would have followed it, but it made you chuckle still when you remember about it.
A lot of corporate leaders who are my well-wishers always keep saying, do not work on so many things, work on just one thing, shut down everything and you put your energies on one thing.
Okay.
And that's an advice that's consistently through the years come to me through a lot of very, very highly placed people who are fantastic brands and value creators and institution creators in their own rights. I have always put it aside and I've always continued to work on the number of things I've worked because I feel everything is connected with design.
Right.
So for me, it's real estate, it's hospitality, it's adventure, manufacturing, product, collaboration, projects. All is connected with design. And hence I continue to do what I'm doing. So that's the best and the worst advice.
Okay.
Only time will tell in the final call whether it was the best advice or the worst advice.
Okay. Which celebrity or industry leader would you like to have dinner with and why?
For me, Guru is Elon Musk.
Okay.
I look up to him in more ways than one. I am, because the more I think what he's achieving and how he's impacting the world, the more it baffles me. It's not his 400 billion net worth that baffles me. That's fine. Might be 10 minus 10 plus. Even if it becomes 4,000 billion. For me, what baffles me is the amount of things he's working to drive humanity to the next level. And now the country to the next level with Donald Trump.
Yes.
I mean, look at that man. Wish we had such corporate leaders in India who would be sitting with PM Modi and full time working on taking and driving the country somewhere else. That's a game changer. Because when the kind of policies that come out of Musk with America, in the next 2 years, you'll see fireworks happening.
True.
Okay.
Describe Della Group in 4 words. I think first word would be empathy, right?
Empathetic,
Yes.
passionate, disruptor, value creator.
Okay. How would you describe your leadership style in 3 words?
People call me a maverick. I'm pretty straightforward, but tough to deal with. I know what I want.
Right.
I don't budge. I stand my ground. My conscience is clear.
Nice. What's the most overhyped trend in design or business right now? Overhyped.
In design, the overhyped trend is to be as minimalistic and contemporary. And that doesn't go with the Indian mindset.
Right.
Right. So we say contemporary, पर थोड़ा यहाँ तो marble तो होना ही चाहिए और ये तो होना ही चाहिए, and you still want to be minimalistic.
True.
Right. So that's the trend that's going on.
And what's one underrated idea or practice that deserves more attention in design?
I think our skills are still underrated. We have fantastic skill sets. Entire Della Tower art was designed by artisans from Goregaon Film Studio. They worked for 2.5 years with me. I've created another 21-story tower in Matunga, which is done by artisans from, again, Film Studio, which is a salute to Anthony Gaudi, the Spanish architect.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So all of that art is created by our artisans. They just require the right direction and the right guidance and the right environments. So most underrated is Indian craftsmanship. Do not mistake it for handicrafts. I have nothing against handicrafts. Indian craftsmanship can be in luxury. Indian craftsmanship can be at the highest level.
True.
They just need to be given an exposure to it and then come and practice and some amount of pampering where they can roll it out and show it to the world.
Yeah, I agree. If you could only visit one destination for inspiration, where would it be?
For me, I get highly inspired when I'm in China.
Okay.
And I must have done about 50-60 visits to China so far. Every 15 days, there was a time I was in China. Why? The answers are very clear. The writing is on the wall for the way they have leapfrogged their economy from where they were to where they are as global leaders today. Not everything I learn over there is applicable to us. It's a communist and we are a democratic country. I still love my democracy. But having said that, in business, the way the industries are supported,
right,
pipelines are created. Those pipelines are missing in India. And those pipelines need to be created in a focused manner by the government because you need to actually spoon feed the industry. How sanitary ware can be designed and manufactured, know-how should be given to 1,000 more entrepreneurs. So they set up 1,000 more smaller factories and India starts competing globally. So every industry technical know-how transfer happens with exhibitions and we need to speed track all of those things. Right. And for exhibitions, you need conducive environments to be created because you cannot just go ahead and hold exhibitions without having the entire infra.
True. If you had a superpower, what would it be and how would you use it in your business?
I would love to transform our country into transfer of know-how and technology and speed track that across
the sectors.
We are still in the mindset of paints being manufactured in plastic buckets because poor people require plastic buckets to go to the toilet. So I think that mindset breaking and transferring technology and know-how and exposing our different industries to what is available with the best in the world, that's something that needs to be done on a mammoth level. Right. So that's a superpower if I had, because that would impact our country and its economy drastically.
Right. It would be hard for you to choose, but tell me what's the one professional milestone you are very proud of?
Right now, if I'm able to achieve it, creating India's first meta-luxury brand in 78 years of India's freedom.
Okay.
That's going to be the biggest feather in my cap. And that's one thing I'm going to be proud of.
Okay.
Everything else has been okay so far. There's nothing to tom-tom about. But this one thing will give me tremendous amount of personal, emotional gratification.
Okay. Who has been the biggest role model in your life, personally or professionally?
There have been different people at different points in time who played a very key and an important role. Rustam Tirandas from the ex-cooperators in Mumbai played a very key role in my life, friend, philosopher, guide. He got me into community politics. I was a worker for his election. He taught me how to serve people. Edilji Turel gave me my first bank loan of 30 lakhs. As a collateral was my life insurance policy. MD Malia, the ex-chairman of Bank of Baroda, Della Resorts has come up because of him. He was my friend, philosopher, guide. And what a man he was. Selflessly helped me out. Never knew me, but he helped me out. I'm indebted to him for life. So there are different people who have helped. Sanjeev Bajaj, my friend, he helped me when I was coming up with a project in real estate. And being a Marwadi helped me more than a Parsi. That speaks volumes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there are different people who helped me different points in time in my life, and I have tremendous amount of gratitude for each and every one of them.
Nice. What's a quote that resonates with your journey?
No success or achievement is worthwhile unless and until it serves the needs of the country and its people and is achieved by fair and honest means. This was by J.R.D. Tata, and it comes from the Tata legacy of Jamshedji Nasranji Tata and Ratan Tata.
Yeah. One item still unchecked on your personal or professional bucket list.
I think rolling out the entire luxury division is still unchecked. I'm working, like I said, this is my 11th year. That's something that's my block. I need to roll it out because I know the magic that can happen once it's rolled out.
And what is the legacy you want to or you hope to leave behind?
An institution that continues to strive and work in the direction that I've set up. That's the legacy I want to leave behind. And I've created a lot of leaders within the organization who've been with me for 20 years, 17 years. My kids from a very early age. My daughter from after finishing her 10th, she's been with me. My son gave up formal education after his 12th and is working with me. So this is the legacy I want to leave behind, and they continue to work in the direction I want them to work.
So thank you so much for joining today, for sharing such a visionary insights of yours. And I'm sure our listeners and viewers will think about this conversation by being more motivated to dream big and create boldly. Thank you so much for coming.
Pleasure.
Thank you.